In the last episode of Rewriting History, we covered the inaugural season of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Today, however, we go back just a little bit further. The year is 1967, and the NHL is finally expanding beyond the original 6 by doubling the size of the league to 12 teams. The California Seals, Los Angeles Kings, Minnesota North Stars, Philadelphia Flyers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and the St. Louis Blues all join the league, and interestingly enough, were placed within the same division. The original 6 stayed together in the East, while the expansion teams were placed in their own division, meaning year in and year out, the top expansion team earned the right to get spanked by the original 6 team for the Stanley Cup. And get spanked they did, for the first 6 years at least, until the Philadelphia Flyers won the Cup in 1974. For the first 3 years, the lucky team to receive said spanking were the St. Louis Blues. 1968, the first year of expansion, they get swept by Montreal in the final. 1969, swept by Montreal in the final. 1970, swept by Boston in the final. And yes, this is the year that this goal happened, which brings us to today's challenge, winning with the Blues in their first year. Now, this series wasn't initially meant to be the let's build a super team every time and see how we do challenge, but if there was ever a challenge that deserves that approach, this is the one. Making it to the final, that's easy enough. Defeating whatever original 6 team awaits us, it's like climbing Everest with a Sherpa on your back. And with all that said, welcome to the start of yet another episode of Rewriting History. Again, the 1967-68 St. Louis Blues, the very first season of the expanded NHL, and this is what we have to work with following the expansion draft. It's not great by any stretch. We have 34-year-old Al Arbour, though, so that's good. We have Glenn Hall, who's 35. That's good, right? And we have Tim Eccleston and Ron Stewart. It's not good. It's not good. It's going to take a little bit. And a 42-year-old Doug Harvey, by the way. It's going to take us just a little bit of time to try and, really get the ball rolling here with this team. And again, it is going to be a one-season challenge. If I'm not mistaken, actually, the default historical challenge in this game with the Blues is for you to actually end up winning the Cup within a couple of years, let alone the first season. So it's going to be interesting to see just exactly how this goes down. In terms of the free agent list, there's not a ton of help to be had. I mean, Stevenson is going to be a pretty good bartering piece, but that's about it. And then again, he's a 5'9" goaltender, which I don't think you would see in today's NHL anytime soon. But we'll see what we can do. Take the normal approach of signing whoever we can and wheeling and dealing as best we can, because yet again, this is really the only way we're going to find success. I could limit the amount of moves that we make, but we would get absolutely stomped by whatever team came over in the from the other division. Of course, it would be a slaughter. So we will sit here and do what we can, sign whoever we can. There is not a salary cap, and as you may have seen, the roster limit, 70 people. 70. So I can sign pretty much any person here that we need to. It's going to be pretty straightforward, and we'll see what type of team we can build, whether or not we have to use and abuse draft picks. However the job gets done, it needs to get done, although Carl Brewer won't be traded anywhere. I wonder, Carl Brewer, are you related to Eric Brewer? Somebody find that out for me afterwards, or I'll remember to look it up later and edit the result into this video. Or I won't. One or the other. Claire Alexander. A man named Claire. Why not? It was 1945. Could do whatever the hell you want. Let me know down in the comments. Do you know a male named Claire? Let me know. I mean, as opposed to a strong traditional name like Ernie. Let me know. Because there have been some names, and the further back you go, because of course in this game you can go back to 1917, The further you go into this game, the more interesting the names get. And I don't think I've ever seen a dude named Claire. Not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's a name. Names are a human invention. So why the hell not? I'm just saying. It's a man named Claire. Jacques Plante. Mr. Plante. Wanted no trade clause, which is fine by me, because then I can move other people. Even though he's 2-star at the time. Stan Gilbertson. See? I mean, you got your Claires, you got your Stans. You know, there's a difference. Willie O'Ree, Hockey Hall of Famer, Willie O'Ree. Yes. Bruins legend, hockey legend. Willie O'Ree. Ron Huston? Would it be Houston? Could be Huston. You never know. Ron Huston from Mississauga. And he's actually going to be the last guy to be signed for the moment. Everyone else is, it's a little bit rough. You don't see too many Myrons walking around nowadays, either, do you? Bob Paradise is one of my favorite names. Tord! Let me know, especially any Swedish viewers. Do you know a Tord? Let me know. I'm sure you know a Leaf, but do you know a Tord? I think that kind of proves my point. And you don't see too many, there's a couple of Lins. There's a couple of Lins. That's all right. So, let's take a look here at some of the other teams, because this will give us a nice little idea. So the Toronto Maple Leafs are stacked. God damn it. Johnny Bauer, Frank Mahovlich, Dave Keon, Tim Horton. That Tim Horton. Good Lord. And in terms of prospects, Unger's there, Conacher. Anybody else overly outrageous? You have Smith. Yikes. The Boston Bruins. Stacked. Bobby Orr, 19 years old. Phil Esposito, Johnny Busick, Jerry Chavers, Fred Stanfield, Eddie Westfall. My God. Oh, my God. Yeah, it is Johnny McKenzie. Pie McKenzie, I believe. Ken Hodge. Eddie Shack. It's so weird that Eddie Shack was a Bruin. Only associate him with Toronto. Derek Sanderson's there. Good Lord, Wayne Cashman's down there. Is that Glenn Sather? That is Glenn Sather. Jesus, this Bruins team is insane. The Chicago Blackhawks with good old Bobby Hull, Stan Mikita. I think that's Pat Stapleton. It is Pat Stapleton. Doug Mons is there. Good Lord. In terms of any crazy prospects, not really. But still, the Detroit Red Wings with some guy named Gordie Howe, Alex Delvecchio. That is Dean Prentice. Good Lord. Roger Crozier. It's Roger, isn't it? It is Roger. Hey, look at that. Look at that. And in terms of prospects, just some guy named Pete Mahovlich. Who knows if he ever became anything. That's sarcasm, by the way. My very clear, evident sarcasm has gone over a lot of people's heads in the past couple of weeks. Terry Sawchuk, Chris Jericho's dad. That's not a joke. That's Chris Jericho's dad. And a whole bunch of nothing on those early Kings, but man, that old logo and the colors. Oof. Minnesota North Stars. Yikes. That is not good. They have Walt McKechnie, who I'm relatively familiar with some old names. I have no idea who Walt McKechnie is. Oh my God. Richard Gumporsley, J.C. Tremblay, Jean Beliveau's still there, even if he's 36. Cormier is there. Dick Duff. Good old Dick Duff. Yes, that Rogie Vachon. That is. My God. My God. Look at the prospects, though. Tony Esposito. Fucking look at this. Serge Savard, Desjardins, Carl Vodnier. I don't know who Mickey Raymond is, but still. Good Lord. The New York Rangers with Jean Rattel. I think it's Ed. It is Ed Jacquemin. Hal Raj-Gilbert's there. Good Lord. These teams. This is what we have to deal with. You see how stacked the original 6 teams are. It's absolutely outrageous. Sil Apps is there as a prospect. And then the Oakland Seals. California/Oakland Seals with Bobby Baun. Leafs a legend. And good old Gary Smith. Good old Gary Smith. That is... You can see why it was a bit tumultuous. Then we have the Philadelphia Flyers with Bernie Parent and Bernie Parent. And, I don't know, some guy named Dick Cherry. Oh, God, Dick Cherry. Good old Dick Cherry. That team obviously needed a little bit of work before they'd be competitive. Pittsburgh with the old color scheme as well. Yeah, they needed some work. They have Andy Bathgate there. Leo Boyven, former Bruin. But yeah, that's not ideal. And then back to us. You say, yeah, you can see why it's, reasonable to say that we should be able to make it to the Stanley Cup final. But in terms of being successful, we're screwed. Which is why, first things first, we have to try and weaken, I'd say, the team that ended up winning the Stanley Cup that year. We need to try and weaken the Montreal Canadiens, which is very, very unlikely. First guy to go for is obviously Richard. There's really no choice. Mr. Eccleston. Oh God, we're really not going to have much negotiating room until some of these guys end up signing, but we can try. I'm not sure how valuable, and here's the thing, first and second round, that's it. We have limited draft picks to work with. So it could be tough. We're not going to have as many opportunities to make moves here. It's going to be close. Craig Cameron will tack onto the deal. And what about Bob Plager? Nope. No. Okay, hold on. What if we take out that second? And what do you value players more or picks more? Definitely picks. Okay. Whoops. Nope. Yep. Okay. Nope. We're right where we want to be. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. What do you mean you don't have confidence in me? First round pick. Can I take out Plager? I can. Can I take out Cameron? I can. Can I take out Jesus? They just want the... Okay, so first round picks are worth the sun, the moon, and the Mars. Keep that in mind. And using it to get Henri Richard, oh my God, there's no way. There is no way that's going to work. I hope to God it will, but let's find out. Highly, highly doubtful. Yuri Bubla. He's got an interesting story. If you're not aware of who that is, I believe that's Yuri Slager's dad. Unless I'm mistaken the player, but I'm pretty sure Yuri Bubla. Wow. So, Max Mestensek and a first for Henri Richard and 2 second-round picks. Montreal, thank you very much. And that could go a long way in terms of helping us out. We actually have a legitimate number 1 forward. So that's cool. Let's go talk probably to Boston. I think we'll just go between original 6 teams and one at a time, try to take someone half decent off of their roster. If you can't beat them, get them onto your team. Bobby Orr. There's no chance on God's green earth that this is going to go through. But damn it, we can try. How valuable is that first? Yeah. No, it's going to take that 5-star dude. If it's going to be anybody, it's going to be that 5-star potential guy. Although, getting Johnny Busick, who is 32, that should be a little bit more manageable. So we'll throw in a second. Let me take that dude out of the deal, that dude out of the deal. Wow, so yeah, I think that's the key. Taking the veterans off of the teams and doing what we can. So it's hardly likely they'll accept this offer. Okay, so Don Cayley or Callie's not going to work for us. But what about Saint Marcia? No? Okay, so yeah, they still want somebody half decent. But I think if we target veterans, that'll be a good way to go. So let's try to use that. Wow, that's Pat Quinn. 24-year-old Pat Quinn. That's well balanced. What about this dude? And this dude? Damn it. Please? What if I take back a garbage player of yours? That's normally a good way to bump up the value. Not looking like it's going to work this time. Hardly likely. They don't want to get rid of Brian Bradley, huh? I really don't want to give up a first for Johnny Busick, and really the smarter thing here would just to be patient and wait for those dudes to sign. And to be honest, we might have to do just that. It's not looking too good on the trade front. Alright, what if I take this dude? Nope, that's not the dude I wanted to take out. It's the dude I just added. What if I take out you? Okay. That should work. I'm going to go for it. In fairness, I could take out random dude. And we'll see if we can get Johnny Busick, the Chief, from the Bruins. 17,000. Jerry Melnick. I wonder. 17,000 numbers to assign. So that's good. Quick and easy. Of course, players can ask to change the numbers anyways, so you might as well just give them a random number. It doesn't matter. No reason to have any complications. I wish I could just have, like, the assistant coach decide that. It would be fairly straightforward. But already the team's looking a little bit better. We have our first game against Montreal here in the preseason. We play Los Angeles the next day. I'm sure we're going to get crushed. We tied 4-4. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. We were able to stay neck and neck with them. More numbers. Good old Claire. You get your number. Andy Brown. You get a number. Ray Fortin. The Fortin. Frank Saint-Marseille. And I thought I had to assign Willie O'Ree a number. Apparently not. Probably going to put him in the minors, but that is okay because we at least signed him. Los Angeles. What do you got for me? You got a 3-2 loss, but it's the preseason, so I don't really care. Boston has accepted Johnny Busick. Welcome to the lovely world of St. Louis. It's going to be great. You get to play next to Henri Richard. There's no way you two want to punch each other in the mouth. Also, Jacques Plante is here, so, you know, just saying. Just saying, Mr. Busick, Mr. Chief and all. Yeah, there's some former Habs here who kind of, you know, kicked your team's ass for many years. We don't have to talk about that. Oh, you're going to be playing with Henri Richard, so don't worry about it. Glenn Hall and Jacques Plante are our goaltending tandem. That's ridiculous. All right, Boston's weekend. Chicago. Bobby Hull is going to be too expensive. However, I think I want him. I think I want to try to make this happen. We did get that big-time prospect, and he should make it a little bit easier. So hopefully it's just Wayne Stevenson and picks to make this happen. Oh, God. Woof, that's a steep price, but it is Bobby Hull. I'm doing it. I know that's a real steep price, but rather than kind of, you know, building up the team in general, we're going to have a somewhat okay foundation. We needed a superstar, and if we can get Bobby Hull, we have just that, and this team will already be looking a little bit better. So we end up playing Chicago and tying 1-1. Right. Let's see. Is Bobby Hull going to be a Blue? Yes, he is. For 3 seconds, a first, and goalie Wayne Stevenson. My God. Bobby Hull, welcome aboard. The top line is now Hull, Richard, Roberts. It's Busick, Stewart. I'm going to say that's Rod Stewart. And if it's not, I don't care. We're saying that it's Rod Stewart. And Atwell. Of course, there's not really a fourth line, so keep that in mind. So that is what the team's looking like at the moment. So we will still have some other moves to make. Let's talk to the Detroit Red Wings. And, I mean, Gordie Howe's 39, Del Vecchio's 34. It makes me wonder if I can take away that aging core of the Red Wings. I might be able to. What if I trade Gene Simmons here? It's Gary. I don't believe you. It's Gene. And Taylor. All of these goalie prospects out of nowhere. Oh, boy. So, whew, boy. Okay, this could be a little bit more rough. But when in doubt, week in Detroit as well. Let's see if we can trade for Gordie Howe. We're going to be nearly out of draft picks. I'm going to have to spin some players to acquire draft picks as we end up losing to Chicago. And Montreal and Boston made a trade. Eon Cornoy is a Bruin. Fred Stanfield. That would never happen. That would never happen. That would have been insane if that happened in real life. We'll play this game as well against the old Oakland Seals. I love those jerseys. They're so good. We ended up winning 7-1. That's a good sign. 60 shots to 24 against the division rival. Detroit has accepted Gordie Howe. Welcome. Because why the hell not? It's Gordie frickin' Howe. And that is our top line. Now, Hull, Richard, Howe. If that team with Glenn Hall and Jacques Plante cannot lead us to victory, then damn it, nobody can. However, I still don't think we're outright done in terms of wheeling and dealing. We might still have room to make some things happen. And trading for Harry Howe, who is a little bit up there in age right now, might be the best way to do it. And Phil Goyette might also be another half-decent addition. Even though he's a little bit older, that means their value will be a little bit lower. So we'll trade Schoberg, or Schuberg, I guess it would be. The Shoe. Mr. Plager. That's well balanced already. Let's give Berry. Bob Berry. And let's go for Alexander. Claire! No, not Claire. And this dude, Andy Brown. Now, hopefully, taking back some of the Rangers' garbage is the way to go, in which they have quite a bit. Let's trade for Brian Tosh, Daniel's dad, I'm sure. I think they'll probably accept. I hope so. We kind of need that to go through. We end up playing Montreal and losing 4-3, but, you know, Busick had a good game. 2 points, leading the way. Gordie Howe, you're not going to get that. You can wear number 99, and it'll be retired before... Oh, he was incensed he didn't get his number. You'll get to wear 99 before Wayne. So season preview, St. Louis is a favorite, as is Boston and New York. Toronto stands out as a potential contender. Scoring race between Howe, Hull, and Phil Esposito, top defenseman, or Howell. So we're about to acquire a top defenseman, and Tim Horton. And for goaltenders, it's Bauer, Gump Worsley, and Ed Giacomin. So we're about to acquire a potential favorite for the Norris, which is pretty damn nice, even though he's a little bit up there in age and the star ratings aren't incredible. But that just totally changed up the way the defense is looking, which I like. Now, again, free agent-wise, there's basically nobody, right? Like, it's not a good situation. So in terms of trading, the only other team that I'd want to make a deal with probably are the Maple Leafs, just to get somebody away from them. There's no chance in hell it's going to be Johnny Bauer, even though he's 42 years old, but that would be tremendous. So you know what? Let's at least talk. I have no other draft picks left. There is no hope in hell of this happening. But let's trade Cameron, and we'll just see how close we can get. So it's going to be Cameron, and Gilbertson, and Saborin, and this dude, and that dude. So yeah, Johnny Bauer is a little bit out of reach. However, is Mahavlich? Yes. Is Dave Keon? Yes. I'll get the best guy I can. Tim Horton is well balanced. Okay, so now if I add some scrub-a-dub-dubs, yes, just Gord Radal, and I could get Tim Horton. 37-year-old Tim Horton for a bunch of prospects. Not a bad way to go. Carl Brewer can change his number. Terry Crisp. What a name. Phil Goyette. Enjoy that number. Harry Howell can wear number 42. And Roger Picard can wear number 43. We'll play this game against the Minnesota North Stars. I think this was the start of the regular season. Let's see how we do. We got a big 6-1 win. Cesar Maniago? I don't know who that is. Shout out to Mike McMahon. But Johnny Busick with a hat trick. 40 shots to 12. That is a fairly dominant start. Jean Beliveau hits 400 goals. Not bad. Before we play Pittsburgh, the Leafs accept Tim Horton. Welcome aboard. Jean Beliveau also hit 400 goals, I think. Or was he the... Yeah, I think that I already read that one. So now it's Howell and Horton as the top two. The Hoots, they call them. And I think we're pretty much done. We don't have much else we can really look to get. So this is now the team, but I mean, we have some ungodly players, you know, some superstars leading the way. So I think, again, it's going to be breezing through the early stages. It's just, can we get to the Cup final and can we win? Now, the team, of course, that we started with in real life was good enough to get to the Cup final. So it's a given that we have to at least make it that far. It's just whether or not we're now good enough to put up a fight against Montreal, Boston, Detroit, Toronto, whoever. Toronto, as The Rock would say. I'll see you guys at the end of the season. How many wins do you think we're going to finish with? What do you think? I'm going to go with I don't know, because how many games are in a season? We play until March 31st. I don't even know how many games are in a season at this point. Tell me, what are the rules? Let's just see how we do. 51, 13, and 10. We were the best team in the NHL by a considerable margin over the Montreal Canadiens. By far the best team in the West Division. Not even close in that regard. But the fact that we were able to top Montreal by as big of an amount as we did, a 129 goal differential, the fact that we were able to do that good in 74 games played, that is a fairly promising sign heading into the playoffs. Now, of course, we didn't have room to make any of the changes, so we should be good to go. Let's see. Okay, Howell's day-to-day. He is day-to-day. And he's got a broken neck. Neat. That's a 2-star player. 27 points for us in the regular season. That is going to be out. That sucks. I'm not sure entirely what this roster will look like then. But yeah, we do know that Ron Schock, which is a great name, by the way, 27 points in 59 games, former Bruin. And as far as how the team did in the regular season, let's take a look. 89 points in 62 games for Bobby Hull. Richard with 86 points. It drops off from there, but Busick with 64, Goyette with 62. Gordie Howe, 45 points in 42 games, so he missed a little bit of time, to say the least. And then 42 points for our defenseman here, Svedberg. Not too bad. Overall, though, Willie O'Ree played 63 games, 24 points. Not too shabby. So right now, I'm still feeling relatively good, even with the injury trouble that we have had. In terms of a save percentage, Glenn Hall with an ungodly .925. That is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Now, I'm not sure. It's not showing save percentages from the previous year, but you can see a 143 down from the 2 that he allowed. I mean, Glenn Hall was, he's one of the freaking greatest goaltenders in the history of the league, so it's not surprising to see him be doing that well. We'll take a look at the stats around the league. Might as well see how we compare. Hall led the league in goals with 45. Espo and Jean Rattel with 34 each. Assists, Richard led the way, and Hall led the way in terms of points with 89. Rattel was the only non-blue to top 80, and then Bobby Orr was 4th, because of course he was, with 73 points. For goalie leaders, let's see how we did. Gump Worsley was the wins leader for Montreal. And in terms of goals against, Glenn Hall was one of just 3 goaltenders under a 199. Johnny Bauer at an even 2.0. Save percentage was Bauer and DeJordy at 936. Jesus. Goaltending was out of control. Absolutely out of control, apparently. So let's move forward today. We will be taking on Pittsburgh in the opening round of the playoffs. It is Toronto, Montreal, Detroit, Chicago, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, and Los Angeles against Philadelphia. So let's see what the Penguins are looking like, shall we? And again, we took a look at them at the beginning of the season. They are not much better. It's gonna be rough for them. McDonald here. I guess that'd be Abe McDonald, not Ab. I genuinely don't know. But went from having 2 points in 12 games to 66 points in 71 games for the expansion Penguins. He is quite obviously the main guy that we need to keep an eye out for. But there's no doubt about it. We should be running through the Penguins here. It's not even a discussion. This should be an ass-kicking of epic proportions. Les Binkley, I'm sorry this is about to happen to you. Only 2-0. Binkley had a great game. Hull with both goals. We outshot them 41-15. Yet they still walk away with the win. Both goals, we still walk away with the win, but it was close. Both goals by Bobby Hull in the second period. But we do take the victory in Game 1. Game 2 against the Penguins. Let's see how we can do. It's a 5-2 victory. A little bit more confidence after that one, but 52 shots to 14, 5-2 on the board, 2 wins down, 2 to go. We're going to jump right into Game 3 because the only thing we really care about here is the Stanley Cup. Game 3 in Pittsburgh is a 6-1 victory. That is more like it. 50 shots to 12. Goyette, Busick, and Rod Stewart leading the way. Well done. One win away here from the next round. I believe technically the conference final, or the division final, I suppose it would be at the time. Game 4 goes to the Blues. 4-1 final. We sweep Pittsburgh as we should. 49 shots to 12. A 3-point night for Bobby Hull. And we are moving on. Again, as you would expect us to. There is no excuse as to why we wouldn't. Boris Mikhailov, huh? As in, like, dominant USSR Boris Mikhailov. Familiar name if you've watched Miracle 50 times like I have. In the next round, we will be taking on, it's making us wait, Philadelphia. That's not surprising. So Toronto upsets Montreal in 7. Chicago sweeps Detroit. Those two teams will meet in what is essentially the conference final. We swept Pittsburgh, and Philly beat Los Angeles in 5. So we have to go through both of the Pennsylvanian teams, and then either Chicago or Toronto will await. But we can't exactly overlook Philly because, I mean, technically, they do have Bernie Parent, even if he's not at the peak of his abilities just yet. And in terms of point producers, they don't really have a superstar. Rochefort's there, Leon Rochefort, and Jean-Guy Gendron is also there. And, of course, Dick Cherry, which is the greatest name in hockey history. Dick Cherry. As far as Bernie Parent is concerned, he put up a .925. Good Lord. Yeah, this could go either way because of the goaltending. We will see what happens. But you got to look at the team there for Philly. I mean, there are some, like Watson's a very familiar name. They got some people, but we have some people. So this should be a victory for us. Parent with a .973 in the first round. First game. Game 1 of the series is a 5-1 win. Bernie Parent, you, my friend, are not in Los Angeles anymore. 41 shots to 18. A dominant performance for the Blues. Goyette with a hat trick. And that is much, much better. Game 2, we'll jump right into it, and we will walk away with a 4-2 victory. Still undefeated this postseason. 42 shots to 13. Hull with a 4-point night. We move on to Game 3. Just 2 wins away from the Cup final. Can we get the win? Yes, we can. 5-1 yet again. Poor Bernie Parent. 39 shots to 17. Hull with another 4-point game. And we are 1 win away from the Stanley Cup final, much like the Blues did in real life. Can we get there? Yes, we can. 3-1 is the final. Willie O'Ree, the first star of the game. And as expected, we simply cruise our way to the Stanley Cup final. But now it's a question of whether or not we are good enough to take on the Chicago Blackhawks. They beat the Leafs. It must have been a quick series. 6 games, St. Louis and Chicago. The rivalry begins here and will never die. 7 games for the Stanley Cup. Let's take one more look at the Blackhawks. Of course, we made a big-time trade with them. Stan Mikita still leading the way. Pat Stapleton there. Doug Mons. I mean, it's a pretty solid team, but maybe not the team that I would have expected to see make it out of the original 6th division, especially after we took away Hull. But Stan Mikita was able to carry the weight. 72 points in 73 games, and Dennis Hull with 64 points. So they're a capable team. Goaltending-wise, it is going to be Norris, I would assume. .918 save percentage. Jack Norris, that cannot be their starter. It is not. Gordie with the hand contusion, and we have a decent chance here of taking advantage of that injury against the Hawks. We could make this happen for the Blues. Let's find out. Game 1 is a 6-3 victory. So that offense for Chicago showed up. It was hardly a one-sided game in terms of shots like we've seen time and time again. 36 shots to 28 in our favor, but Goyette and Busick, 4 points each. And we end up getting the win. We take game one, and we have to hope that Chicago does not get their starter back. They do not. It's Jack Norris yet again. Game two goes to the Blues. 4-1 final. A much more dominant game in that, at least in the shooting department. That time out, 40 shots to 18. Richard, 3 points on the night. 4-1 final. We are 2 wins away from a Stanley Cup. Hall of Fame nominees to Ted Lindsay, Harry Lumley, Turk Broda, Tom Johnson, Bert Olmsted, Fern Flaman, John Ross Roach, who sounds like he's out of Tombstone, Flash Hallett, Roy Waters, Bill Quackenbush, Lawrence Chabot, David Kerr, Jimmy Thompson, and Bill Cowley. Already nominated, so I get to nominate one of these guys, and I mean, Jesus Christ. Okay, the names. Oh, the names. I mean, it's between Busher Jackson and Sugar Jim Henry. It's gotta be Sugar Jim, right? It's not even a nickname, just Sugar Jim Henry. Go for it, Sugar Jim. You make the Hall of Fame. Game 3 against the Hawks. We have home ice advantage, and we get the win. It was a little bit closer, but 6-4 is your final. 52 shots to 23. Howe led the way with a hat trick of assists. Mikita and Busick also had good games, and we are 1 win away. This was best case scenario going up against the Blackhawks. The St. Louis Blues sweep their way to the Stanley Cup. 5-1 is the final in the deciding game. 44 shots to 19 with Henri Richard leading the way. We have rewritten history, as, you know, I honestly wasn't sure if we would do. Again, the domination of the West Division, no problem. But sweeping our way past Pittsburgh, Philly, and Chicago, again, we got so lucky that Boston, Montreal, and Toronto ended up falling short. That made it so much easier for us. And if we look at the stats here in the playoffs, I mean, my God, Bobby Hull, 26 points, 14 goals in 12 games. Henri Richard, 24 points in 12 games. I mean, we had 5 players who were over a point a game pace, nearly 7 who at least hit the mark. Those top line additions paid off, to say the least. And then you have Mr. Glenn Hall with a .916 save percentage in 12 games. Only 1 shutout, surprisingly. But the 36-year-old gets it done and wins. I mean, he wins his first ever, actually not his first ever Stanley Cup. He did win with the Blackhawks previously, but absolutely ridiculous what we were able to accomplish this year. Cannot say that I'm overly surprised, of course, but it is nice to have a fairly straightforward challenge to get the job done, walk away with the victory, and everyone has a happy new year. Although, I do want to get to, I guess front office would be it. Front office is not it. I always forget to look for awards. There we go. I mean, granted, there's, you know, all the different ones. So the Hart Trophy, I swear there's a way I can look at these elsewhere, but the Hart Trophy did go to Stan Mikita. Actually, in fairness, yeah, there are multiple trophies here. So the Hart Trophy goes to Stan Mikita as league MVP. Conn Smythe was Bobby Hull. Best rookie, Bill Flett. I didn't even win GM of the Year, which is outrageous. How did we not win GM of the Year? Yeah, Bill Flett wins Rookie of the Year. Go figure. St. Louis, congratulations. You won the Stanley Cup. You didn't get smacked around for your first 3 years of existence. We'll see if the Blues can replicate it this year. This episode should be going up on Saturday. They'll have a chance to close out the Winnipeg Jets. Let me know what you think is going to happen in that series. Let me know any suggestions as far as what to do with this series moving forward and whether or not we should change up the format of making a ton of trades. But, you know, it's kind of the one way to guarantee it as opposed to being like, well, we'll have 3 trades, which could, you know, the format's not exactly locked down. But we'll figure it out. Thank you for checking out the series, though. I appreciate it. The video as well. I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, have a good one. Goodbye.